What's up, guys? How's it going, everybody? The Wrestle Report coming back at you and coming back at you live. This is
Oh,
episode number
wow.
47 with Phil and Don. I am Phil,
Yep, I'm done.
and we're back. We're back live. We're going to work several kinks out, I think, as we do this, but after some discussion, this is just an easier way to do this show. The normal Phil Talk Sports podcast will still be the recorded format, but we want to give people the chance to chime in live during the show, and then you always, at your leisure, could go back and listen to it the way you always did. So I didn't see any negatives to doing it live again, and I saw a bunch of positives. So here we go, episode 47. I'm going to make sure we are live. It looks like we're live, so we are good to go here. A lot to talk about this week. Vince McMahon retires, apparently, is something that I didn't think I would actually say with my own words, with my own mouth at any point in my life. I knew there'd come a time where Vince is no longer with us. I was ready for, but I never expected him to still be with us and not in WWE. Although I'm not convinced a McMahon can be killed. But we're gonna start right with that. Vince McMahon retired as of, I think it was Sunday or Saturday, or this over the
Friday,
weekend. Oh, it
Friday.
was on Friday right before SmackDown, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know where you were. This is one of those moments that you kind of think about where you were when it happened. But what were your thoughts? What went through your head when this went down?
I thought it was a joke. I had to make sure because like a lot of people retweeted it
Yeah.
because I was just randomly on Twitter and I saw Vince McMahon and then it said that I'm retiring from at the age of 77. I'm
Right.
like, what? You lying? This can't be real. This can't. It's got to be a troll or something.
Yeah.
And then that's when I got. That's when a lot of people started texting me saying like, "Is this true? Is this true?" I'm like, I don't know.
I
mean,
had
this,
I had many people tweet me or DM me, like coworkers and stuff, that know they don't watch wrestling, but they know that I watch wrestling, and all this stuff. And are you familiar with you talk about Twitter troll accounts? It's called Ballsack Sports. You ever seen that account?
no, I
They
haven't.
they will go out of their way to make their account look official, and it'll like, oh, LeBron James says screw all these bums, I'm getting traded again, but makes it look like he really said it. And I
Yeah.
could have sworn it was going to be one of those tweets because everyone knows what's going on with Vince right now. And I'm not really here to talk about all that because more information is going to come out. By the time we finish this recording, the information will already be outdated. But like everybody in the world knows what's going on with Vince in his personal life and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's not the biggest shock. So he's in the public eye because of that right now. So it wouldn't surprise me if somebody tried to make a fake account like that and tweet that out. But once I realized it was the actual account, not to be cynical or anything, I want to jump right to this. I don't know what this really means because from a business perspective, he's still the owner of the damn company. Like he's still at the end of the day, and maybe I'm wrong, and you can tell me if you view it differently. I'm pretty sure he's still the final say of everything that goes on because he owns the company. Like I think it's a publicly traded company. People like to mention that he still owns 80% of the shares this company has. So I like, what does this really mean? Like I don't know if anyone truly has the answer, but what does it mean to you? What do you think this happens from here?
I think it's gonna be what more on the line of that he has final say so when it comes to the business side.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they decided to get Disney sell it to Disney, I think he has the final say to that. But when it comes to like um the actual shows and stuff, I think he's done with that completely.
Mm-hmm.
Especially now that we had the news earlier about Triple H. Um, and I also think that more people are going to start leaving. I know there's a report that's saying that Kevin Dunn's going to be gone. Thank God, bye
Yeah,
Kevin Dunn.
my eyes. That yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see what happens. But this is different. This is definitely different. Tonight's going to be the first Raw without Vince McMahon. Technically, like,
Ever, yeah.
yeah,
Because really Vince has owned it. Raw was another one of his creations. So yes, it will be in about 90 minutes or so here, probably around the time we're done talking. We'll have the first Raw without Vince McMahon. And I don't know what's a bigger story, the Vince McMahon. Like if Vince didn't retire, but you still heard the news about Triple H, I think that would still be the bigger news. I think overall that's the more positive thing to come out of this right now. That
Yeah,
supposedly Triple H is calling the shots now when it comes to talent.
which is I'm happy for it because a lot of people love Triple H, and I feel like Triple H is gonna like definitely hire people that was fired. I wouldn't be surprised.
See, I do wonder where, because he, out of the people that he put a lot of stock into, there's not many of them left. There's like Ciampa and there's a few others, but a lot of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, I expect them to become bigger players again. But I'm curious what his first move is going to be in this position.
Yeah, definitely. And people got to also remember, like, I don't think it's gonna be overnight. I don't think like, after tonight is gonna be a whole different Raw tonight
Yeah.
because Triple H is running it. I think after SummerSlam you'll start to see the different stuff because we got storylines going on right now. And I think this is the best time for Vince to actually do this too, if you think about it, because you can restart everything after SummerSlam.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. I think we're going to see little changes tonight just to let you know that, yes, changes are coming. SummerSlam is not that it's set in stone, but a lot of it, I wouldn't be shocked if a match or two gets tweaked between now and Saturday, which again, I'm glad it's on Saturday again. And there is a pay-per-view on Sunday that we'll talk about at the end of the show tonight, which is interesting. But yeah, I think they're going to do what they can. And it sucks they booked themselves into a corner with Brock Lesnar and Roman again, which very interesting story with Brock on Friday. Apparently, if Vince is gone, I'm gone. Like, he gives a shit about any. I think it was just a ploy for him to have to throw more money at him to get him back in the company. Like, Lesnar never misses an opportunity to do any of that. So, like, when I heard that story, I was like, good, go. Like, apparently Goldberg was the backup plan. I had heard that story. And you know what? We never did get Goldberg Roman because Roman had to sit out of that WrestleMania. So in a weird way, that would have been better, in my opinion. But I'm a Brock hater, so that's a different thing. That's a different story there.
I don't know. I think we did get the match.
Did we get it later on?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not 100%, but yeah.
If Brock and Goldberg ever faced off, let us know in the comments because we clearly forgot about it if they did. It clearly didn't happen when it was supposed to happen. That much I know.
Yeah. The first time, for sure, the first time it didn't happen because of that.
So, yeah, we should see a little bit of it tonight, maybe a little more on SmackDown, but I agree with you that we won't see really any major changes until post SummerSlam. And I think the one person that I think is not super happy about all this maybe is one Austin Theory, because I wonder how this affects his trajectory going forward. I almost at this point could see him trying to cash in Money in the Bank and doing it unsuccessfully, because clearly Vince was and I got nothing against Austin Theory. I do think he's one of the better young talents they have. And I could still view him as a former future world champion in WWE at some point, but there was a little notion of too much too soon for him right now. And I do think Triple H might check that a little bit if he's truly, I could see, like you said, someone like a Kevin Owens or a Tommaso Ciampa that he views as a really world champion caliber. Finn Balor even could overtake that, especially because he's got like goons behind him that can help him win titles and stuff.
Yeah.
So if anyone's not happy about this, it's probably Austin Theory.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know if there's much more to say about this now. I think we're going to know more as time goes on. If this is really it for Vince, obviously I even put out there, it's like it ends not with a bang, but with a tweet. It was very awkward the way this all went down. And I think in due time, he'll get his 8-hour documentary thing. He'll get his video package. I don't think right now is the right time for any of that because of the reason that he's stepping away.
Yeah.
So I think Stephanie coming out and saying, we love you, Dad, and you thank you, Vince chant, like that's probably as much as the shareholders and Fox, let's say, are comfortable with at the moment. I think I wouldn't even be surprised if at WrestleMania they let him welcome to WrestleMania and then walk away, do one of those one last time. I could see all those months later when all this is finally calmed down a bit. I don't think if he's truly retired, I still don't think it's the last time we see him on a WWE TV.
Oh yeah, no, I think he's just gonna be a character if anything.
Yeah, eventually they'll do something with him, and he could just be a backstage skit here and there. Like I remember when I really first started watching wrestling, Classy Freddie Blassie, he was wheelchair bound at this point, but like they would randomly like every once in a while just do something with him. He'd even like hit somebody with his cane or something, and I could see them
Yeah.
like it won't be a comedy angle, although it could, because the last time we saw Vince in a true angle, it was comedy. It had a golden egg involved, for God's sakes. So I don't know. It'd be the true story of Vince retiring is, the head of the company, but I guess you can still own a company and own 80% of the shares in that company. You just don't have control of the day to day, I guess, is what this really means.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see where this goes, but that's where it is right now. Definitely was very surprising for that to just come out on Friday, and congratulations to Tony Khan being the longest tenured CEO in pro wrestling. People got so bent out of shape about that. Clearly, that was a joke, right? I think we're all aware of that was supposed to be a joke.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a joke, but it's just like, really?
Tony is getting like, okay, I'm convinced. So he, ever since, was it Double or Nothing, when they got to do it in Vegas the same night as a UFC event, and Tony Khan's been hanging out with Dana White. I think Dana White is rubbing off on Tony Khan, and he's just getting more ballsy with the stuff he's doing, and that was just one of those examples, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but that's what remains to be seen with the Vince McMahon story. But for now, thanks for the memories, and I do think we will eventually get, because the man does deserve a send off at the end of the
Oh
day.
yeah.
He doesn't deserve the last time we see him on Raw shouldn't be almost falling off stairs and having to like hop, skip over the last step on Raw. Like that shouldn't be the last time. They'll do something with him. I know he said he never wanted to be in his own Hall of Fame, but Triple H will talk him into it in like 2 to 3 years if he's still with us, and I hope he is. His mom apparently passed away at like 101. So again, like McMahon's got some good genes.
Good genes, yeah.
So from the stuff going on outside the ring, let's talk about some of the stuff going inside the ring. Last weekend, we actually attended a WWE live event, not a premiere one. This was a regular live event. First one, not counting NXT, because you've been to several NXTs. I went with you the one time. December of 2019, aka before the world went crazy, was the last WWE live event I went to. We went at the Ocean Center here. We basically had largely the Raw roster, which is really cool. Got to bring my wife for the first time. Jody enjoyed it. First time seeing wrestling live. She was very excited about it. I remember when they announced they were coming to Daytona, at first I was like, oh, great, I'll get to see Cody, because this was before he got injured and everything. He was the only guy on the poster. It was supposed to be him and Seth Rollins in a street fight. It ended up being him and Riddle in a street fight, which, is a decent replacement. But I think it's been even longer for you to be at a WWE event that isn't NXT. So how did you enjoy your night?
Well, this was my actual first house show.
Okay.
This was my first house show I've ever been to. I enjoyed it. It was fun. Earlier events that I had got some terrible news earlier in the day. So that took me out of it, like enjoying it, like how I wanted to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
But I still had fun.
Right.
It definitely took me out of my funk when I was there. It was nice seeing Alexa. This was the first time I saw AJ Styles live, so that was pretty cool.
The highlights of it, we'll say, was definitely AJ Styles and Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah,
that was probably the best pure match we had. We had a fun 6-man with Ezekiel, which Jody loves the Ezekiel Elias storyline. The fact that he came out there, she enjoyed. He teamed up with the Street Profits, and they faced Austin Theory and Alpha Academy.
Yeah.
That was a fun little thing.
It was a fun little match. This was also the first time I saw Finn Balor. I lied. I saw Finn Balor on a SmackDown.
Okay.
Street Profits first time. Rey Mysterio, that was my first time, and that's all I needed was that, and I'm good. That's when I started getting out of my funk, and I was like, Rey Mysterio's here.
Yeah. We got the Mysterios versus Judgment Day. It was Balor and Priest, and the Mysterios won with the Eddie Guerrero hit the mat with a chair, throw it to the guy, and fall down for the ref to turn around. That got a huge pop out of me for them to win by DQ that way. That was fun. For those that haven't been to house shows, they tend to they're more relaxed. There's a little more chillness in it. They get to be loose and have fun. They did this thing where Omos came out, and when R-Truth was going to do an open challenge, like his hero that he grew up watching John Cena, even though he's about 10 years older than John Cena. And he did an open challenge, and Omos came out, and Ron R-Truth was basically saying that he was actually Omos's father, and he wanted to introduce him to his brother, Little Jimmy, and then he squashed him in about 45 seconds. Like, if he did that on Raw, that would be ridiculous, but it fits on something like this.
Yeah. And then Omos being the complete heel, tearing up the little kid's poster.
Yeah.
We got to see someone get arrested too. That was
yeah,
funny.
so I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, AJ and a couple of people were signing this kid's poster that was like right on the ramp, and he tried to get Omos to sign it, and he ripped it up and threw it to the kid, and apparently somebody threw some of the paper back at Omos, and they like immediately arrested the guy. It was pretty crazy to see.
That was pretty cool.
I mean, and WWE in general, this was their time to loop around our area. SmackDown was in Orlando. Billy went to that. Pretty good event. He had told me. Shout out to him. And your boy John was actually the same night as us. The SmackDown roster was in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
So that was cool that they double up like that. So they tend to come back around December, and since we've shown some other people how close our seats were and how reasonably priced the seats were, I think when we go, hopefully they loop back in December, and we'll have a bigger group with us because now everyone has seen how much fun it is and how good the seats are in the Ocean Center and everything. So definitely a good time. W Live events still a great time, worth the money. I bought an AJ Styles shirt. I plan to wear it on this show, but we pushed it back a few days, and now it's in the wash. So I will wear it next time. Jody wanted the Seth freaking Rollins shirt, but they didn't have her size, so now we're just going to go on the shop, and she'll find. She's a big Damian Priest fan, so I'm probably going to get her a Damian Priest shirt. That's where we're at with that.
That's what's up.
Yeah. So that's a great event. Look forward to them coming back. For some reason, I almost enjoy it more than like if I went to a Raw or SmackDown, I kind of know what to expect. But the house shows, you never really know what to expect. And it's funny that we had Riddle and Seth Rollins, and now it looks like that's something we're going to get at SummerSlam. So we kind of got a sneak preview of that.
Yeah.
So we're going to leave the actually, I guess we can talk SummerSlam now if we want to jump into that. I'm still figuring out I haven't done these live streams in a while, so give me a second here, guys. I knew I forgot one of these preview cards here. Boom. Okay, so SummerSlam is this Saturday, right? The 30th.
Yes, sir.
So let's jump into that for a second here. We kind of mentioned let's start at the top. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. Last man standing for the last time ever. We're serious this time, guys. Is basically us. There's no way Roman loses this, right? Like, they're already both part-timers. There's no reason to do either of these. I think Roman just finds a way to win this. I mean, there's an outside thing that Theory tries to cash in or something. Like, I don't know. What do you think is going on here?
I think what's gonna happen is Roman's gonna win. And they're gonna they're setting up for Drew versus Roman at Clash of the Castle in September.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see them doing that, but also I can see them have giving the belt to Brock. So Drew could beat him. You would think that Brock Lesnar is probably a bigger draw than Roman Reigns.
Maybe, internet over the pond. Yeah, it could be that way. Mm-hmm.
Even though I think Roman Reigns is a superstar, he's probably the biggest star not named Brock Lesnar or Ronda Rousey, I believe.
Right.
But I could definitely see Roman winning, and I've heard rumors saying that Austin Theory is going to try to cash in, and he's going to lose.
Could you imagine the cop out of like he cashes in not after the match to make it a triple threat match the way like Rollins did, and then Roman just spears and pins him? So like
I can see that too.
Even gives Brock an out, and it's like, why did we even do this? I hate to say it, I could hate to see them going that way. That'd suck. We talked about like how Drew deserves a run because his first run was during COVID. We started the show during COVID when he was champion, and we said how he was carrying the brand, much like Jon Moxley is getting right now with the interim world title. Because when you look back on it, you're gonna not even remember that it's the interim part. So he's still getting a victory lap. And before I was like, oh, it'd be nice to see Drew win. Now, Drew, I really think Drew has to win nowadays because if if both belts are going to be on a guy that's never there, like even if they only make it for one belt, which if they really want to cheap out, they could do that. They haven't decided that these belts are forever fused together. So even if they make it for one of the titles, I'm okay with that. But we need a world champion on these shows. Like it's getting
Plus,
ridiculous.
you never know. You never know how Triple H feels about it, and just decides let's split it up and have Theory cash in for the WWE title.
Yeah.
Um,
or I mean, if they want to truly unify it and give it one belt, like maybe it's on a gold strap or something, like do something to make it official. I could see that, and then they could do that with the tag team belts too. We talked about that before. Go back to the black strap with the gold plates on it again, which would be cool. But yeah, like I said, Triple H has, and I think him and Drew are on a point where it's almost like if you take over an NFL team, right, and you're like, all right, I got to get the quarterback right. I got to draft somebody that's going to do well. So in this case, like, all right, I'm in charge now. Who can I put the belt on that I can trust? Drew McIntyre, like, never gets injured, constant professional, looks like $1 million. You can put him on the talk shows if you needed to. He did as much as he could. I think the fact that he carried the company through COVID, he still deserves, his comeuppance from that.
Yeah.
So I'm at the point now that I definitely think he's going to deserve that, but we'll see where they go with that. Other matches on this show, I already mentioned the Riddle, Seth freaking Rollins. That should be pretty good, I think. We're getting the Street Profits and the Usos, a match we've seen a bunch of times. The biggest twist here is Jeff Jarrett is the special guest referee. No real reason for this, right? It's just because they're in Nashville.
Yeah.
That's got to be the only reason. I don't know if it's going to cause anything to happen. I don't know if the Street Profits are going to win because of this. Which again, we got to see them at the live event, and they're super over. Like they're stars in their own way.
Hell
so
yeah.
when you put them together, it's next level. I'd be totally fine with that, especially if like Roman's going to lose to Drew soon. There's no reason to keep all the belts in the bloodline anymore. So if this is like the chink in the armor that starts that, I could see that could happen.
I could see the Street Profits winning, and then Roman being pissed off, and basically like, since you guys couldn't do it, I added someone else to the bloodline, and then here comes Solo Sikoa.
There you go. I'm looking forward to that. They got to do something, especially if Roman's not going to be around a lot. He could make him like the right hand man, and then he gets to boss the Usos around, even though he's younger. And you could do a million things with that. Actually, I think that'd be pretty sweet. The Lashley Theory U.S. title match is another kind of like, we just saw this. I could see Theory just like kicking him in the dick and losing by DQ so that he could try to cash in later. Like this could go a few different ways. It'd be ridiculous if he won the U.S. title and then cashed in and then he has 3 titles. That's what Vince would have wanted to do if he was still
literally all the gold.
Yeah.
So I have a question real quick. I'm sorry.
Sure. Yeah. Hit me.
If you was Theory and you won, which title is going to be around your waist?
See, I enjoyed the whole what was it? Angle used to just, and you can't do this anymore because they're not buckles. Maybe if the Velcro was strong enough, but you would just like stick them together and just hang them over his shoulders. I think I would do it.
Yeah, boom, boom,
and then you could have and then the U.S. I'd probably keep the U.S. one there, and then you could just hang the 2 world titles. I would probably do it that way.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a big belt mark, so it's a valid question. It's like FTR. It's interesting for whatever reason they love the AAA tag team belts around their waist, and then they have the ROH and the IWGP titles on their shoulders. That's how they've always been wearing them since they've had all 3. The Liv Morgan Ronda Rousey. This seems like too quick of a. I mean, I understand you want Ronda on this show. Does she just win it back immediately, or is it going to be like Liv proving that she can, she can beat Ronda in a match that is one-on-one and fair, You know
what I see happening, bro? I see Liv winning because Charlotte Flair comes back, distracts her, 1, 2, 3, and then you get Charlotte and Ronda at Clash of the Champion, or Clash of the Castle.
Could definitely see that going. And then where does that lead? Do you think Bianca beats Becky here?
Yes.
Yeah, because she's running 100 miles an hour. There's no reason to stop that.
There's no reason.
So what leaves us with two matches. The match that I'm most looking forward to, because I've called this months and probably close to a year ago. We're finally getting Pat McAfee and Happy Baron Corbin, and I'm looking forward to this. I think they're going to go all out, and McAfee's going to get his first true win that isn't tainted by Vince McMahon coming out and punching a football in his ribs and pinning him for no reason. That this is going to be sweet. I'm looking forward to this, and there's no way McAfee doesn't win. That's the best part.
Yeah, I can see. I hope McAfee wins.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going for on that match because Baron Corbin doesn't need to win. To be honest with you, I think they're gonna put on a show though. I think that's going to probably be contending for match of the night.
And him and Triple H are tight. So if he's calling, like, I don't know if this is one of those like Vince got to call what happens at SummerSlam and that's where he leaves it, or if Triple H does, but they both really like McAfee, so there's no reason not to do this.
The man just resigned, bro.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw this. So like early over there on Friday or Thursday night, the Blue Jays beat the Red Sox like 28-3 in a baseball game. Yeah. And McAfee mentioned it on air. And he's like, "Did you know you could score 28 runs in a baseball game?" And Cole says, "Well, I'm a Mets fan. We don't score 28 runs in a month." So that was pretty great. The stuff he brings out of Michael Cole. Michael Cole has said on multiple occasions he's never had more fun in his career. I'd imagine Taz was up there too because they had good back.
Yeah.
McAfee's next level.
Yeah.
That last leaves us. The average person maybe cares about this the most. Logan Paul and The Miz is happening, and I could see The Miz winning because, like, when they won at Mania and he turned on him, it was to leave him as, like, a sympathetic babyface. And I could see Miz cheating to win to keep that going. If he's truly signed full-time and is supposed to be a regular on the roster. If he's just hey, look, isn't this cool we have Logan Paul, then he needs to win by roll-up, and you could say, oh, what a cool story. But if you're really trying to be one of the guys, like, you got to build yourself up from somewhere. So I think the result of this match will really tell us where they plan. Is he really here for the long term? Yeah.
I could definitely see. I could see them pulling the trigger and having Logan Paul win. But now I could also see them doing that, what you just said, with and have Miz win by roll up.
Yeah.
And have another match later on down the line. But what I've heard as well, I don't know, but apparently Triple H and them, they don't like the whole rematches thing, like, over and over again. So, I mean, hopefully that's one good change we get.
Well, yeah. Well, win or lose, I don't want either of these. I don't want a rematch for this match, regardless of who wins right away. Maybe down the line, you could, but yeah, rematches are good. It's when the rematch is too quick and too often. Like, wrestling is kind of built on rematches, actually, but they got to be done correctly.
Yeah. Not like, oh, I fight you this week, I'll lose, and then 2 weeks later we fight again. No, give me like a month in between. That storyline is over with.
Perfect example and a good segue here as I move something around. ROH Death Before Dishonor was built on the rematch of FTR and the Briscoes, and they upped the ante by making it 2 out of 3 falls. I've watched the pay-per-view after the fact. I still have to finish watching that match, but it's been very good so far, and FTR retained. But that's a perfect example of a rematch done right, 2-3 months down the line.
Yeah.
And some other good stuff. Pay-per-view, Claudio Castagnoli winning the ROH World title, which opened the show, which I thought was pretty crazy. And you found out later that I guess Jonathan Gresham immediately asked for his release, felt he was kind of disrespected in this in-between period of Ring of Honor. And I don't think this match was meant to go. So what they said on the air was they coin flipped for the tag match in this to be, because they're the 2 main events. And the winning match ended up being the tag match was going to go last, and the other match was going to open the show, which was actually a brilliant way to cover it, I felt.
Yeah.
Plenty of great things happened here. Wheeler Yuta and Garcia had a great pure style wrestling match with those rules. I forgot how much I enjoyed those. Like, it really makes it feel a little different where you can only get 3 rope breaks. You can't use a closed fist. Just really interesting rule set. And I think that's something that Ring of Honor can really show that it's like TNA with the X Division. This is what sets us apart. Very good show. I definitely recommend watching the replay if you haven't. A couple other title matches were on the show. I think the 6-man titles changed hands. Dalton Castle and the boys won. I'm not a big Dalton Castle guy, but in like a 6-man tag division with the boys, like I'm cool with that. And then what else was it? A few other, the women's title retained, which I was surprised. I really thought Serena D was going to win that title, but surprisingly she did not. But
yeah. So she lost against Mercedes.
she did lose. The only thing I want to point this out too. Caprice Coleman on commentary is brilliant. I'm so glad. Great. So I've actually seen him wrestle in the NWA, and he's solid. Really good. He reminds me a lot of Gus Johnson, like the regular sports announcer. Really? Yeah. He's like the wrestling equivalent of Gus Johnson, and if it's going to be him and Rick Abani, that's great for Ring of Honor moving forward. Absolutely. And William Regal joined him a couple times on commentary when Yuta and Claudio were in the matches. So like they had a third guy for some matches to bounce off of, which I thought was cool. The only thing I didn't get from the show was the one thing I really wanted. I wanted some information on, are we going to start filming TV? Is it going to be on Paramount Plus? Is it going to be on the website? Like we still do, like, there's a lot of momentum out of the show. The show was great. Apparently it was the most buys for a Ring of Honor pay-per-view ever. So you got to work on that momentum. So that's the one, like, I figured there'd be some news of some, so even like a coming soon thing about it, that way, oh, cool, something's in the works. So definitely a great show. I recommend people checking it out if you haven't. And again, a lot of momentum for Ring of Honor coming out of that show. So I hope they capitalize on it. We got 2 more things here to talk about at the end. Usually we talk a little more AEW, but there was a lot of WWE stuff in the news, especially with us going to a show. But to catch up on some AEW news, we got 2 new champions to talk about. The TNT champion Wardlow, I was a little worried that his momentum got a little stumped when they did the 20-on-1 match with the security guards, which I thought was funny, but it didn't do anything, didn't do him any favors. And I was wondering that people, like, now that his thing with MJF was over, are they going to care about him as much? But he came out for that title match, man, and that place exploded. He ran through Scorpio Sky. The people were happy for him. And I think it's going to be a lot like Goldberg when he first won the U.S. title. He's just going to run through a lot of people, especially since they have the Mid-Atlantic title that they can do more things with. There's no reason they can't just let him run through it with this for a good while. And a quick note on the Mid-Atlantic title. They did do the Pac started defending the title in like other companies. And I think they could continue to do that because then they just show the match on Dark, which I thought was neat. I still don't like the name, but if they're going to make this like, if you have this title, you're literally going to like be the AEW flag bearer in the indies. I think that gives that title a distinct flavor. So I thought that was cool. But what'd you think of Wardlow winning the title?
I'm happy for it. It sucks that Scorpio Sky didn't really get. He only had one feud, really. Yeah. If you really think about it, with Sammy, and that was it. So I mean, I'm cool with it. Wardlow's a beast. He's really good. I just didn't like the fact after that match they had him go against Orange Cassidy, and Orange Cassidy could have almost beat him. It looked like he was putting Orange Cassidy over more than Wardlow was getting going over. So that turned me off for that, because I feel like, yes, Orange Cassidy is a good wrestler and stuff, but I feel like he's more of a gimmick wrestler than a regular wrestler like Wardlow.
I find myself liking Orange Cassidy until you put him in like a title match picture, because I'm like, that's not really what. Like, if they get a 6-man belt eventually, which supposedly Kenny Omega is coming back. I'm not going to touch on that much because we don't know anything about it yet. But Tony Khan has said like they want to wait till Kenny comes back to make those. That way, basically, Kenny and the Bucks can win them, I assume. But if down the line, if the Best Friends and Orange win the 6-man belts, I'm all fine for that. I think that would actually be a good run for them. That would legitimize all those guys. But yeah, I like Orange Cassidy. I just don't like when they put him in title matches. I think that's where I draw the line.
I do understand. I mean, he's a good wrestler, bro. I see some stuff that he does, and I'm like, oh shit! Like he surprised me when he went against Will Ospreay. Yeah, but I just felt like Wardlow. You want to continue building Wardlow up as this freaking monster, and I feel like he should not go that long against Orange Cassidy, but went so short against Scorpio Sky.
I will say, at least he did beat Orange with no like shadow of a doubt, because he is still viewed very highly. So when he like power bombs him and pins him, like that still means something. I gotta say, I popped big for when he ripped his pockets off. That was
Yeah.
hilarious. And when he dropped the strap and Orange Cassidy just casually like put him back on, that was funny as hell. So like I enjoyed the match, but it didn't make much sense that we had it, I think, was my problem.
I understand what you mean.
And then the other title that changed hands recently, Swerve and Our Glory are the new AEW Tag Team Champions. Very happy about this. As I was watching the match, I was really going for Team Taz. And there was a moment where like Ricky had a pin on someone and he's already like crying because he thought he won. That really tugged at my heartstrings. And I do hope they get a run here. But I was really happy for Swerve and Lee. I do think this is actually a perfect run because they've already hinted at their issues. So I think whenever they do lose the belts, they'll bicker and immediately go into a feud with each other, and that'll make for some great matches. Yeah. So I think this is great all around.
I thought this match was fire. It was fire. But I was with you. I really wanted Team Taz to win. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's Swerve and Keith Lee.
Yeah,
I love it.
No, I'm all for it. I even bought they don't make a Keith Lee AEW figure yet, but I found an old WWE one that fits in with my AEW guys. So now I got him in the ring.
Oh yeah, I see him. Yeah,
holding both belts. I can't find a Swerve yet. They never made an elite of Swerve. They only made a basic because he was only in the company for so long. But I will look for one of those for sure to throw in there.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I'm all for them. And again, they're going to win a couple of defenses and have a solid run. And then however they lose, they'll go right back to Swerve, kind of taking it out on Lee. And it'll go into a great feud that I think will be awesome to look forward to as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and Team Taz are still young, and I do think they need to they need gold other than the FTW title, because I think that needed to eventually end up in Hook's hands, and he can bring it back to Taz, and then it can go away. Because Taz is like a top 5 wrestler for me. I think I talked about, well, actually, one of the first top 3s we ever did, I think I put him at 3. So I love the fact that belt has been around for a while, but that's how that arc needs to end. I think Hook needs to, if Danhausen wins it from Starks this week, because that's a match they're doing, that'll be a little ridiculous. But if they then send in Hook to get it back, it'll be worth it, in my opinion.
I can see that.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. So that's caught up with the AEW title matches. We'll talk more about them starting in the next episode. We just had some WWE heavy stuff this week. I'm going to end with something a little different. As we mentioned, SummerSlam is on the 30th, Saturday this weekend. But on Sunday, we have Ric Flair's last match. And I originally didn't even think about covering this, but the card of this show has no business being as good as it is. Like, it is, there's Impact wrestlers on this, NWA, New Japan, MLW, so much crazy stuff going on, but we will start with the main event. It's Ric Flair and his son-in-law Andrade against Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett's a little busy this weekend. Which this is taking place. Is this in Nashville too? Is that Nashville? Yeah, they're both in Nashville, so we don't got to go far, which is crazy. This is at the fairgrounds, like one of the more legendary arenas that they had.
And you know what's crazy? You know Charlotte Flair's going to be there.
Oh yeah, of course. She's got to be.
So you never know, man. I'll tell you, Charlotte is definitely showing up.
I mean, a lot of people were wondering about, should Flair do this? And there was a lot of talk about Flair versus Lethal. That was going to be the match because that's who he was training with or whatnot. Yeah. Lee's a professional. It would have been fine. I think he would have got him through the match. I'm way more comfortable with this tag match because Andrade can work a lot of it. Flair can play the hits, and they can, win or lose however it might be. I was actually reading when I went to the page to look up the card that they mentioned some other matches that were going to happen. Apparently, Ric Flair was going to team with FTR to take on Ricky Steamboat and the Rock and Roll Express. That was a match that almost happened for this. Matt Cardona offered to defend the NWA title against Flair for his last match before he got injured. And that is something I would have loved to see. Because obviously Flair wouldn't win if it was for the title, but for his last match to be for a belt that he basically made would have been beautiful. The Jeff Jarrett thing, it's a little random, but like Flair and him do have history, so it's fine.
TNA and stuff.
Yeah. So really all that's going to be good. But yeah, man, some of these other matches, we got Josh Alexander defending the Impact World Title against Jacob Fatu from MLW, which is crazy. We got Davey Boy Smith, British Bulldog's son, against Killer Cross, formerly of NXT. What else we got? Oh, we have the Von Erichs, the younger Von Erichs, are against the Briscoes. the Wolves, Davey Richard and Eddie Edwards reunite for one night only to face the Motor City Machine Guns. You got Ricky Morton and his son Kerry against Brian Pillman Jr. and Brock Anderson with Arn Anderson in the corner. So you get Rock and Roll Express versus Four Horsemen vibes one last time. There's a lucha match with Laredo Kid, Bandito, Ray Phoenix, a couple other people. Okay, I will mention this pay-per-view is supposedly $200, which is ridiculous. And that has been the price before they even had matches going because it's fair, I guess. But I will say,
wait. I'm sorry. Yeah. Repeat that price one more time.
So you can double check me, but I'm pretty sure when I looked on the fight app, bless you. I'm pretty sure when we looked on the fight app, and I'll check it one more time, that it said it was $200 for this show.
Oh hell no!
Yeah, I've never spent that much. Like, I remember right before the network happened, I think WrestleMania got up to $80 on like traditional pay per view, like a year or two before.
Jeez. Sorry.
Started. So, but yeah, I don't know how this is going to do buy rate wise. Actually, let's see if I can share this screen here.
I believe you can do that at the bottom.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. Okay, I got to set all this up for later, but I'm on the page. Let me see if I can see the price. Okay, I was wrong. I think that they must have talked him out of it. It's $34.99. So totally forget everything I just said. Totally makes sense. So I think it was a bundle because he's doing StarCast, and you were gonna get like the Q&A and interview stuff. I don't know if that still makes it worth it, but okay. I'm glad I corrected myself. I'm glad we didn't go off the air with that. But yeah, so $34.99. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I don't know that I'll get it live at the thing, but I'll try and catch like a replay of it or something. But that's basically what we got. Anything you want to throw out there before we get out of here?
I think this is also the whole Vince retiring as well. It's going to help NXT as well.
Yes,
just to throw that out there.
I mean,
I think we'll get the NXT versus Summer Survivor Series. I believe we'll get some NXT versus SmackDown versus Raw.
That's a good point. I hope we get that again too. And you don't have to make NXT black and gold again, because that I don't know that they want to change brands again. I'm okay with the lighter setup and it's a little too colorful for my taste, but if the matches go back to being good, that's fine. And there's some good stuff. I actually got to admit, I watched the Braun Breaker and Grimes feud and match, and I really enjoyed that. And I love the story they told where it's everybody loves your dad and nobody knows who mine is, but my dad was a good man. And I'm like, that's cool. I don't know who came up with that, but stick tap for them, because that felt old school, Southern wrestling type thing. So whoever wrote that, I don't know who's down there. Isn't Road Dogg down in NXT now?
Nah, it's Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels had a creation. Creative. There we go.
Yeah. I mean, he knows plenty of the old Southern stuff. So if that's what it was, that's pretty awesome that they came up with that. And yeah, I think overall, if this is truly what we think it is, I think it's gonna be some good stuff for WWE and NXT and everything. And remember Tony Khan saying back in the day, he would totally do a show, he would work a show with WWE. That was never going to happen with Vince at the helm. Triple H mends fences, man. He did it with Bret Hart. He did it with Bruno Sammartino. He did it with Cornette to get him to introduce the Rock and Roll into the Hall of Fame. He mends fences. That's what Triple H does from a company standpoint. So you never know what could happen. I think the sky's the limit. I don't know that we're going to get a lot of it on Raw tonight, but I think we both agree after SummerSlam, look out, because there's going to be some changes, I think.
Yep, right there. Believe it.
All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. I would still watch Raw tonight because you might see some new things, see what we're at here. But this is the new format, guys. We'll let you know ahead of time when we're going to do these once we figure it out, and I'll have the link up early. So you can jump in there. You can even throw comments in if you aren't going to be able to watch it live, and you can go back and check it out. If you got things you want us to talk about, throw the comment in even before the show starts, and we can open with those. So I want to thank you guys for checking this out, and enjoy the new format, and we'll see you next time.